Right now at 5, a familiar name in Missouri politics says he's throwing his hat in the ring to become the Show Me State's next governor.
We got another calm and cold morning across the 4 states, but as we mentioned, warmer weather is on the way. We'll tell you just how warm it's going to get today and take a look at that Easter forecast coming up.
And one Joplin school teacher gets some surprise recognition for an exemplary job well done.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So it's another chilly one. I know our little ticker down there says it's 66 degrees. It is not,
No.
but it might actually eventually make it there. So the ticker's just excited about the warm-up we've got on the way. Taking a look at the MoDOT camera, 20th and range line. We're looking pretty good out there so far. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400, just south of Pittsburgh. Currently, though, not quite 66. It's a little bit colder than that right now. We're at 35 in Joplin. Feels like 31 with that light east breeze at about 5 miles an hour. Across the area, see, here's the deal. The winds are beginning to shift. Yesterday, we were from the north. Now they're from the east. Got 34 Fort Scott, Nevada, Lamar, Carthage, 37 Neosho, 40 in Miami, 38 Chanute, and a little bit colder in Parsons, sitting at 29. As we get our day started, we'll have something similar to yesterday, that partly to mostly cloudy sky situation. Some of us in southeast Kansas will actually just start the day with clear skies, which may allow you to get a little bit warmer. Temperatures getting into the lower 50s by late morning. As we head into the afternoon, this is, I think, why the ticker is just so excited. We're looking at highs pushing the mid-60s, maybe even the upper 60s for some of us, again, especially in southeast Kansas, where you're expected to have some clearer skies than the rest of us. All of us, though, getting into clear skies as we head through the afternoon and into the overnight hours. Still a cold one tonight, but not nearly as cold as it has been as we drop back down to 38 degrees for our overnight low. Let's take a quick look at that Easter forecast for you. So we still have that chance of some showers. We could see a couple in the afternoon and maybe a couple more in the evening. So not a complete washout. And check out these temperatures. Starting today about 44, 69 by the afternoon, and 55 as we head into the evening. Quick look at that 7-day. You see temperatures continue to warm through the weekend, maybe a shower or two Monday. And those temperatures continue to climb, lower 60s, mid 60s by the middle of next week. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. I like that peep show Easter background there for you. All right, well, Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft wants to move into a top job at the state capitol. He's running for governor, an office his father held for 8 years. Marina Silva reports from Jefferson City.
Jay Ashcroft is now one of several Republicans who have announced they are running for this top office in Missouri. But the current Secretary of State might not be doing things the same way his father did.
And I want to be the person to move Missouri forward to make sure that everyone in Missouri has the opportunity to be the best they can be.
After serving since 2016 as the Missouri Secretary of State, Jay Ashcroft has decided it's time for a change of offices.
I've loved serving as Secretary of State. The people of the state have really blessed me with the opportunity to serve as Secretary of State, now for 6 years, electing me twice.
Ashcroft has made headlines recently for state library funding. He proposed a rule that would require public libraries to adopt rules about age-appropriate books. If libraries violate the rules, they could lose state funding, which comes from the Secretary of State's office.
If you read the rule is all about putting parents in charge of their children. If you think that you should be able to tell another person's child what to do and put things before them that parent would have a problem with, we're going to disagree, and we're going to disagree greatly.
Democrat and House Minority Leader Crystal Quaid said Ashcroft feels holding office is his birthright and added, quote, Missourians deserve a governor who is dedicated to them, not an extremist who thinks he's entitled to the people's mansion because of his last name, end quote.
Again, that was Marina Silva reporting. While no Democrats have announced they're running for the state's top office, 2 other Republicans have announced they plan to run. They are current Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe and State Senator Bill Eagle from St. Charles. A permit would not be required to carry a concealed handgun in Arkansas under a bill lawmakers sent to Republican Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders on Wednesday. Governor Sanders' office says she plans to sign the measure approved by the majority Republican House on an 81-11 vote. The bill was approved with no debate, But opponents have questioned the impact the legislation would have on a 2017 law that allows concealed carry handguns in certain locations, including the state capitol. An NEO student from southeast Kansas died on Thursday, 3 days after a truck pedestrian crash. The crash happened Monday night on the 900 block of B Street Northeast in Miami. Authorities say the truck drove south with 19-year-old Chase Langston of rural Parsons, Kansas, on the hood of the truck. They say the driver then accelerated and slammed on his brakes, throwing Langston from the hood. Langston was taken to a Joplin hospital in critical condition and died from his injuries today. Authorities say the driver of the truck, Clay McCormick, left the scene. Authorities found the truck about a half block north of the accident, parked at the truck owner's home. McCormick was arrested for DUI. Authorities say more charges are expected in the case. An early Thursday morning fire burned at an upstairs apartment in Joplin's Murfreesburg neighborhood. The fire was at 114 South Pearl. Authorities say the resident of the apartment was transported to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. There's no word yet on the cause of the fire. To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, some Webb City High School launch students partner with Joplin Community Regional Foundation Philanthropic Society to present a grant. The more than $6,700 grant went towards the Children's Haven of Southwest Missouri. The high school's launch is a grassroots effort started by the JRCF Philanthropic Society. Its mission is to launch students into a lifetime of philanthropy.
We are in the Philanthropic Society that was started at Webb City High School last year. Basically, the goal of it is to just be able to provide, we called it a grant, to be able to provide a grant.
And students who participated turned in 149 volunteer hours to earn more than $2,200. The funds were matched 2-to-1 for more than $4,400, reaching the total of more than $6,700. The grant money hopes to move the needle for children and families in crisis situations. Well, introducing the Teacher of the Year for Joplin schools. Kelly Davis teaches 3rd grade at McKinley Elementary. Her school held a surprise announcement yesterday morning. She's been teaching for 19 years now, and Davis has wanted to be a teacher since she was very young and says she loves kids. She says her key to success: amazing students and co-workers. A separate announcement will be made later on for support staff of the year. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the Neosho Wildcats look to continue their red-hot tear through local competition. How would they fare against a Cardinals team just over 500? Chris has the answer in sports. Plus, it only takes a little while to read a little bit of a book, and we're taking you to one neighborhood that's making reading a little bit easier with some little lending libraries. And we know spring just got here, but that means summer is just around the corner, and that means summer sun, and we've got some tips on how to enjoy the sun and stay safe at the same time. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Well, the Missouri Southern Lions have their biggest series of the season this weekend. The Lions open a 3-game series against Central Missouri Mules last night in a battle of 2 of the best teams in the nation. These 2 teams are both ranked in the top 20 in the nation, and they enter Thursday evening tied for first place in the MIAA. Southern is ranked 4th in the country. Central Missouri is number 18. Fast start for the Mules. Chase Heath drives one here to left center. Runner scores. Comes an RBI double for Heath, and Central Missouri goes up 7-0. Missouri Southern not out of it. Bottom of the 3rd, Ethan Clark pulls one through the left side. That scores Nate Myskowski. Lions get a pair to make it 7-2. Then in the 5th, 2 on for Will Doherty. He yanks this one to left, really hammered it well over the wall for the 3-run home run, his 5th of the season. Make it Southern within 2, but the Lions just not able to come back. Central Missouri takes game 1, 8-5. Neosho Wildcats are on a roll early in the season. Through 9 games, Neosho is 8-1 overall, and they've won 7 in a row. Wildcats playing host to the Webb City Cardinals last night in their COC League opener. Webb City enters this game at 6-5 overall. It was a pitching duel yesterday afternoon. Go to the top of the 4th, tied game, 1-1 score. River Brill makes a sweet play with the glove. He gets out at first. Bottom of the 5th now, same score with a runner on. Webb City gets the double play and gets out of the inning. Now we go to the top of the 6th. Things get interesting. Drew Vonderhaar gets it just over the glove of the second baseman. Kaylor Darnell comes in to score and gives Webb City the lead. Now 2-1 Cards. To the top of the 7th, still 2-1 Webb City. Sean Hunt hits a line shot in the left field for an RBI single for a big insurance run. Makes it 3-1 Cardinals. The big story in this game was Webb City's Landon Fletcher. Swing and a miss in the first, another whiff in the third. Then he ends the game on a strikeout. Fletcher pitched a complete game and strikes out 10 batters. He only gave up 1 run. And that performance was good enough to give Webb City their first conference win of the season. Cardinals beat the Wildcats 4-1 in Neosho.
I knew that my last game wasn't my best, and then I had to kind of figure it out and got to win the first conference game, so got that done.
He's a sophomore. This is his first start in a COC game. I mean, you can't ask for much more. He had 8+ strikeouts. I think he only had 2 walks. He had a few hits, but I mean, that's just who he is. He's in the zone all the time. You know, he spins his breaking ball about any count. I mean, that's just kind of what he does. I mean, that's just what we asked him to do.
Thursday marked the opening day of the Adam LaRoche baseball tournament in Fort Scott. 3 games on the schedule yesterday, with the tournament host Tigers hitting the field first against Tonganoxie. Fort Scott enters the day on a 3-game winning streak after beating Pittsburgh on Tuesday. Tigers down 2 in the first, but Rocco Lafredo with 2 on, perfectly placed ball into shallow right. Cody Wilson comes in to score. Fort Scott gets 1 back. Second inning, still down 1. Spencer Goldston goes opposite field for the base hit. Cal Cousins scores on that. And we have a new game, tied at 2. Moments later, Lennox Van with 2 on, slices this one into left, gets down and gets by the left fielder. That's Goldston rounding third, scoring for the Tigers. Right behind him is Cody Wilson there. Van into second. Fort Scott goes up 4-2 after 2 innings. Spencer Goldston on in relief for Fort Scott in the final few innings. Gets the strikeout on the check swing in the 7th. Tigers hold on in a good one, beating Tonganoxie 6-4. Still to come, it wasn't just the 4 states that had to deal with severe weather this week, as Quebec gets slammed with an ice storm. We'll have the details. Thankfully, no ice storms in our area, just warmer weather. We'll take a look at all of that when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Got ourselves a bit of a cold start out there. We got 35 Joplin, a little warmer in Miami at 40, 37 Neosho, 34 Carthage, Lamar, Nevada, Fort Scott, 33 Pittsburgh, 38 Chanute, and Parsons trying to be the cold spot this morning at 29. Now out in southeast Kansas, some of you are going to get clear skies throughout the entire day, so you may actually be a little warmer than the rest of us. Otherwise, we're looking at mostly cloudy, partly cloudy skies into the lower 50s by late morning, and then we're all looking at highs pushing the mid-60s, but again, a little further out west. If you get more sunshine, you may go into the upper 60s near 70 today. We'll have clear skies for everybody as the afternoon and evening progresses, and we'll stay clear as we head into the overnight hours as well, down to 46 by 10. Then we eventually drop back down to a low of 38. So another cold one, but not nearly as cold as what we have seen. All right, so we go through today. We're looking all right. We go through our Saturday. Not bad either. Sunday, I know everybody's been curious. Sunday morning, we start to see some clouds increasing across the area, and then by early afternoon and into the early evening hours, you can see where there could be a stray shower or two. So remember, this is the computer's depiction of where a shower or two could happen. This isn't just a blanket of rain out there. Those will clear out by late evening, and then we head into our Monday, and we have more shower chances out there, maybe even a rumble of thunder. Now, the Monday chances will last a little bit longer than the Sunday chances do, but still not a complete washout. Looking at that Eastern forecast, starting the day about 44, 69 by the afternoon, and then again a couple of showers hours later, so we head on down to 55. Let's take a look. 67 tomorrow, 69 the high for Easter. Start pushing lower to mid-70s through next week. Still watching some thunderstorm chances as we head toward the end of next week, but check out those temperatures as they begin to push toward 80 degrees. Well, according to a recent study from the George W. Bush Institute, 48% of students in Texas between 3rd and 12th grade don't read at their grade level. On a local level, the literacy rates for the 4 states ranges from Kansas at 19th in the nation, Missouri at 27th, and Oklahoma at 29th, with Arkansas down at 40. Those numbers are the reason why neighborhoods in Texas are now joining school districts in an effort to improve reading skills. Angel San Juan explains.
This colorful wooden box on a post looks like a birdhouse. If it were, it would be one for a wise owl, because what comes out of here is knowledge. This is what's called a little lending library. There are 5 of them in the Oaks Historic District in Beaumont.
With a little bit of research, we found out about them, how to build them, got the instructions, and then we had local artists paint ours.
Julie Camara is the president of the Oaks Historic District Neighborhood Association. She spent 38 years of her life in education, teaching students from first graders to seniors in high school. Her passion is reading.
I do have a Master Reading Teacher certification, so reading has always been my focus for students. And then when I worked at Region 5, it was to instill in teachers the best way to instruct students so that the children wouldn't fall behind or fall through the cracks.
Unfortunately, that's what's been happening lately in Texas. Reading scores taking a dive. But Camara says teachers can't improve reading skills alone. It will take the entire community, especially parents.
One of the best things parents can do is read to them, have reading materials available at home. Children should have 3,000 lap hours of reading before they hit kindergarten. So that is a lot for parents. And so, but it has been proven, it's scientifically studied that reading to children is the #1 thing that you can do to foster a love for reading, vocabulary.
Camara says by the time a child reaches 5th grade, if they don't have basic comprehension and reading skills, they will probably never catch up to their peers. Reading, she says, is crucial in all aspects of life.
Recipes to your job, instructions on how to do something, and if you can't comprehend even the most simple instruction, then you're floundering. You're basically illiterate.
The personal finance website Wallet Hub recently commissioned a study that ranked Texas 45th in the nation in reading test scores. But the Oaks Historic District Neighborhood Association is doing its part to lift those scores.
With our little lending libraries, we're hoping that parents will stop and take a book, read it to their children, leave a book. That's what the motto is, take a book, leave a book.
And the neighborhood's mission is gaining momentum. The 5 lending libraries in the Oaks Historic District are nationally recognized.
They're all across the U.S., and there's actually an app that you can go on and find where they're located. And so we are now part of that registry. So we've seen an uptick in people being able to access the library and getting books for children. Plus, we've had more donations come in.
Expanding the circle of citizens who are contributing to making reading more accessible to all children. In Beaumont, Angel San Juan reporting.
Now, these little lending libraries aren't just a Texas solution. If you look around, you can find some of these little community libraries right in your own neighborhood. And that brings us to our question for you this morning. When is the last time you read a book? Was it yesterday, last week, last month, last year, maybe a few years ago, or maybe it's been so long you don't remember? Well, we want to hear from you. Make sure you take time to vote through our website, through the app, and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. We will be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, spring is in full swing and summer is a little over 2 months away. And with warmer weather comes more time spent enjoying the outdoors. But before you start perfecting your cannonball into the pool, make sure to throw on some sunscreen. Ivan Rodriguez has more on what to look for and how to keep yourself safe.
Some words of warning and advice from actor Hugh Jackman this week.
I've just had 2 biopsies done. I just went to my doctor and she just saw little things, could be or could not be basal cell. And trust me, trust me, trust me. This is all stuff that happened 25 years ago. It's coming out now.
Jackman has been treated several times before for skin cancer. Thankfully, his results have come back negative this time, but the warning remains. According to the Skin Cancer Foundation, 1 in 5 Americans will develop skin cancer by the time they turn 70. And the 2 most common causes, exposure to the sun's UV rays and tanning beds. But how does the sun affect our skin? Dr. Sanjay Gupta explains.
The squamous cells and the basal cells, they lie there in that epidermis. That's what can be affected by sun. They can be mutated and they can turn into cancer. You also have another type of cell known as melanocytes. If they become mutated, that can turn into melanoma.
Besides wearing sunscreen with a high SPF, make sure to do routine checks of your body. If you notice something unusual, remember A, B, C, D, E.
A is that lesion or mole asymmetric? Borders, that's B, irregular in some way. Is the color changing? That's the C. And then diameter is D, is it growing in size? And E, evolving, meaning is it changing in some way?
Remember, protection from the sun doesn't mean zero fun. Take it from Wolverine.
Put some sunscreen on. You'll still have an incredible time out there. All right? Please be safe.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got ourselves another cold, clear start out there, but we will warm up, and that warm up will continue. We'll take a look at your full forecast when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, the 4 states came out to Downstream Casino to show its support for a Joplin treatment center and shelter.
We got some clouds for some of us and cold temperatures for all of us, but the warm up will continue. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
Lights, camera, action. The students at MSSU's TV station get a green makeover along with some other high-tech upgrades to take their production skills to the next level.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 5:32. I'm Tanya Buck.
I'm Chris Warner. So it's another cold one across the area, and thanks to our director extraordinaire, Tim, we got the ticker corrected. But it was just really excited because we've got a fairly warm day expected for us today. So let's take a look right now at the MoDOT camera, 20th and Range line. Not that many cars on the road, as a matter of fact, right now. Oh, wait, there comes one. I was going to say, there's no cars on the road. It is incredible how quickly these roadways fill up as the day goes on. Good view from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400, just south of Pittsburgh, and from our camera at 7th and Range line. We're at 35 in Joplin, feeling like 31 with a light east breeze at 5 miles an hour. And it's, again, a cold start across the area. So far, Parsons, yesterday it was Fort Scott wanting to take the cake as the coldest spot. Parsons has decided, nah, it's our turn. They're at 29. Everybody else, though, lower to mid-30s. 32 Pittsburgh, 33 Lamar, 37 Neosho, 39 Miami, and 37 in Independence and Chautauqua. We have some clouds out there. Now, if you're on the Kansas side, you're mostly clear at this point, and you may go a little warmer today, but for everybody else in that cloud cover, we'll stay mostly cloudy through the morning and into the lower 50s, and then the clouds will clear out of the entire area as we go through the afternoon, and that allows us to warm up mid-upper 60s, and some of our friends in southeast Kansas could even push near 70 today. We'll have clear skies heading through the evening and into the overnight, and that will result in us getting a little cold again, back down to 38 for our overnight low. As we look ahead, we've got ourselves the continuing warm-up, 67 tomorrow, 69 on Easter Sunday. We still have that stray shower chance or two between roughly 2 and 7, but again, these are going to be extremely isolated, so don't panic about it. A few more showers possible on Monday, 70. We get into lower to mid-70s toward the middle of the week, and that as we head to the end of the week, temperatures start pushing near 80 degrees. And we start watching for some additional thunderstorm development as we head into the next week as well. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. The Joplin community gathers at Downstream Casino to support a local treatment center. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has the details.
The Ooh La Lafayette event has been a community staple for 14 years. From silent auctions to virtual golf, the community shows up in out for the Lafayette House.
We have the used bags, we have new bags, and it's just fantastic the way the community comes together and donates.
All proceeds and donations from the gala support the Lafayette House, making sure to keep a safe sanctuary for those in need.
For 14 years, we've been impacting what we're able to do because of Ula Lafayette.
The Lafayette Gala is more than just a girls' party. This year they're introducing the alcove, which has more masculine interests because they want to emphasize that they help everyone in the community.
We don't only serve women, we serve men too. And so let's have two separate events, one with a more masculine feel and one with a more feminine.
500 people are expected to attend Ula Lafayette. Committee members are proud to watch the attendance increase over the years.
We outgrew the Ramsey building the first couple of years that we had it. We sell out every year. It's something that people look forward to.
Reporting at Downstream Casino, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
The event also recognizes April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Well, green can be a color for happiness, money, and special effects. KGCS-TV at Missouri Southern began remodeling its studio on Thursday. The green screen will be in Studio B and will be used in productions for the university's Newsmakers show, along with student-created productions. Studio A will become home to a brand new LED production wall. The new features come after Missouri Southern received a $1.5 million Mo-Excels grant. Master instructor Brian Mirren says the green screen will open the door for creativity.
And so the backgrounds allow these students, and the virtual backgrounds allow these students to create unseen sets before, and so it allows them a lot more creativity. In the past, you're kind of stuck with what physical objects can you build a set out of. Now it opens them up to anything that they can imagine.
The remodel is expected to be finished with the installation of the LED wall at the end of May. EPA recognizes a Parsons, Kansas business for its water conservation practices. The agency gave out a pollution prevention award to Grandview Cabinetry. The manufacturer implemented a system that repurposes the solvent used while finishing cabinets to clean factory equipment. Officials say every year it saves 1,000 gallons of solvent, 1,400 gallons of water, 3.3 tons of organic compounds, and more than $15,000. Well, some area students threw on some gloves and got to work on Thursday. Neosho County Community College hosted its 13th annual SMAW Invitational Welding Competition. The focus of the competition was the stick welding process. An official says the competition serves to motivate and prepare its students to join the workforce. Some students have been doing this from a young age.
My dad, he's always been with me for it and helped me weld, and just the interest has always been there, and I've always wanted to weld, so been welding since pretty young.
Competition for high school and college students. I learned how to weld in high school as well.
I did not, unfortunately. I did woodworking, though, so I built a really terrible shelf.
I made a cart for my dad's AC/DC welder that he still uses to this day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
My welds held together. Yeah. That was many moons ago. Anyway, this morning we're discussing reading a book.
Yeah, literacy rates for the 4 states ranges from Kansas at 19th in the nation, Missouri 27th, Oklahoma 29th, and Arkansas down at 40th. Literacy rate in Texas is nearly the worst in the nation at 49th.
Now, those numbers prompted some Texas neighborhoods to team up with their school districts to improve reading skills. Little boxes began to pop up here and there, only they weren't birdhouses. They were little lending libraries.
Take a look around the 4 states sometime, and you might just be surprised to find some of these little boxes with big learning right in your own neighborhood. That does bring us to our question for you this morning. When is the last time you read a book? Was it yesterday, last week, last month, last year, maybe a few years ago, or maybe it's been so long you just don't remember? So far, nobody's voted because they're probably really thinking hard about this. When did I last read a book, and what was it even about? So after you figure out when the last time you read a book was, make sure you take time to vote through our website, through the app, take part in discussion on our Facebook page. And if you've read a really good book recently, make sure you share what that was.
And if your vote is today rather than yesterday, just go ahead and put it in yesterday. It'll count for the same.
Yeah, we'll call it the same thing.
Yeah. All right, that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, a daughter's search for her father leads her to Facebook and a community of Good Samaritan strangers.
Plus, the war of words between China and the U.S. continue after the Taiwanese president visits with a prominent U.S. lawmaker. We'll have the latest.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Pittsburgh. Topping World Watch, hundreds of armored police filled the streets of Paris Thursday as protesters threw smoke bombs and paint at them. It's the 11th day of demonstrations across the country. At one point, a cafe caught fire, but the flames were extinguished quickly. Union members also stormed American investment company BlackRock's offices. The protests are over new plans for the French government to raise the age of retirement to 64 from 62. That was pushed through Parliament without a vote. Well, China is warning the U.S. not to provoke it over Taiwan after the island's president met with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. As Amy Kiley reports, it's also shoring up relations with other countries.
A day after the Taiwanese president met with U.S. lawmakers, China is flexing its own diplomatic muscles. It's hosting the French president and the head of the European Commission, while the former Taiwanese president tours the country. China also is warning the U.S. that supporting Taiwanese independence would be a, quote, red line.
It is not our intention to escalate.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen say independence wasn't the reason for their meeting.
I reiterated Taiwan's commitment to defending the peaceful status quo, where the people of Taiwan may continue to thrive in a free and open society.
Bipartisan members of Congress share that take on the self-governing island.
We take our support for the people of Taiwan seriously and are determined to speak with one voice.
As for the Biden administration, it's downplaying the visit. The U.S. acknowledges China's position that Taiwan is part of its country, but doesn't recognize Chinese sovereignty over the island.
Transits by high-level Taiwanese authorities are nothing new. They're private, they're unofficial. In fact, every Taiwan president has transited the United States.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Well, it wasn't just the 4 states impacted by storms this week. An ice storm Wednesday brought down trees and power lines in Quebec and knocked out electrical service for more than 1 million households. As of Thursday morning, just over 1.1 million customers still did not have power after freezing rain swept through the Canadian province. Almost half of those customers were in Montreal. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's another cold one across the area. We're going to start our little camera tour at 20th and Range Line with the MoDOT camera there. Looks good so far. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400 just south of Pittsburgh. And then our camera at 7th and Range Line looks pretty good as well. We got some cloudy skies out there. 35 in Joplin. Feels like 31 with an east breeze at about 5 miles an hour. Cold across the area still. Coldest spot right now goes to Parsons at 29, Neodesha not far behind at 30, 31 Fort Scott, 33 Lamar, 37 Neosho, and 39 in Miami. As we start our day, as we've mentioned, Kansas is actually staying out of the cloud cover, but everybody else, well, those mostly cloudy skies and eventually making it into the lower 50s by late morning. Everybody will get in on the clear skies as the afternoon progresses, looking at highs in the mid to even upper 60s. And for those in Kansas, you might even push 70 since you'll have a little more sunshine than the rest of us. Everybody clear tonight, looking really good, down to 46 by 10. We're looking to be 38 for our overnight low, so a pinch warmer than last night, and that warming trend will continue. There's those clouds, and they'll go away eventually. Our Saturday looks great so far, and I know everybody's wondering about Easter Sunday. Well, here we are, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Maybe some stray showers in our far western counties, and that continues, maybe a few more showers out there. These are going to be extremely isolated. So again, this is the computer's interpretation of where rain could fall. It's not saying rain will fall in all these areas, but it could. Now those will break up and clear out, and then we head into Monday. And again, same thing. This isn't just widespread rain, but we all have slightly better chances of seeing some showers from roughly 10 to about midnight on Monday. And maybe even a rumble of thunder, too. So let's take a quick look at that Easter forecast for you. We're looking pretty decent. 44 to start the day, 69 by midday, and 55 in the evening. And again, a couple of stray showers possible. Let's take a look at the rest of the days, shall we? Tomorrow, 67. Not too bad. Maybe a shower or two again on Monday, 70. We go lower 70s, breezy on Wednesday, mid 70s by Thursday. And as we head toward the end of the week, those temperatures start pushing close to 80 degrees. And we're watching some additional thunderstorm chances. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
A 25-year-old woman in Michigan desperate to find her father. She had barely any information about him, but a group of strangers helped figure out who he is and locate him. Kimberly Craig has the story.
I didn't have any information on him growing up. No one would give me his name. I didn't have pictures. I didn't have anything.
Her mother died when she was just 10 years old, and Jordan O'Neill didn't even know her father's name.
So I've actually been wondering about him my entire life. You know, I knew I was adopted at a young age, and it's always, you know, as I got older, it crossed my mind, wondering, who my dad is.
Jordan says it was nothing but dead ends with Ancestry DNA, so she reached out to her only known living relative, her grandmother's sister.
Look, do you have any information? You're like my last hope. And she said that she actually had pictures of him.
The old pictures that had been forgotten in an attic were her mom and dad when they were pregnant and the day Jordan was born. Jordan heard years ago that he may have worked in Southgate, so she turned to Facebook.
I found the Downriver and Friends group on Facebook, and I posted the two pictures with his name being Brian. I'm like, I know these pictures are from 1997, but does anyone recognize him? This is my only hope. And it blew up.
That's because so many members of Downriver and Friends know her dad, Brian Ahern.
There were people that were sending me his phone number, his address. Somebody went to his house and knocked on the door to tell him about the post.
I used to wonder all the time about her. I thought about her quite a bit over the years. And then, I said, I hope someday she'd find me or I'd find her.
On Sunday, Jordan finally met her father. We're told he raised her as a single dad until she was 8 months old, and her mom came and took her to Texas.
My first thought was, wow, I look exactly like this man. There was no denying that this is my dad.
She's his only child, and her baby Asher makes him a grandfather now, too.
I got the whole package right away, didn't I?
All thanks to Downriver and Friends, a Facebook group with well over 130,000 members known for helping others.
We've had a veteran get a new furnace. We've had people find their dogs. This girl finding her dad. You just can't beat it.
I've struggled with depression my whole life, and now I just feel so grateful to still be here to experience this love and support from strangers on the internet and now finding my dad.
What an amazing ending there. When we come back, we're taking a dip with a baby elephant, and we're chowing down for Easter with some of the animals at the Whipsnade Zoo in England. We'll be right back. Well, here is the perfect story for Friday. Meet Travis, the baby Asian elephant at the Fort Worth Zoo in Texas. This is video of little Travis swimming for the first time in his young life. He was born February 23rd. Now, the zoo said the elephant habitat has a 400,000-gallon river in it. So before baby Travis could explore that space, they wanted to be sure he could swim and stay afloat. I think he's doing well. All right, and just in time for the holidays, lemurs, rhinos, and wolverines at the Whipsnade Zoo in Bedfordshire, England, woke up to an Easter egg extravaganza. This was yesterday morning. The video from the Whipsnade Zoo shows endangered ring-tailed lemurs enjoying papier-mâché eggs filled with their favorite sweet potato treats. Yummy. And while wolverines Puff and Fee tore up 2 Easter piñatas stuffed with their favorite meaty snacks. Now, according to the zoo's keepers, footage also shows a greater one-horned rhino named Behan discovering snacks amongst brightly painted Easter boxes.
We've got ourselves another warm day across the area. Temperatures warming in lower 50s by late morning, and those of us experiencing cloud cover will continue to do so until early afternoon when those clouds will begin to clear out of here. We'll get highs in the mid to upper 60s. Some of us, like in southeast Kansas, where you're going to see a little more sunshine, could go near 70. We head into this evening, clear skies for all, down to 46 by 10, 38 for our overnight low. And as we look ahead, I know everybody's wondering about Easter. We'll get right to it. 67 tomorrow, a stray shower or two between roughly 2 and 7 on Sunday, but nothing serious to worry about. Otherwise, 69, mostly cloudy. A few more showers Monday, 70. We'll hang out in the lower 70s, mid 70s as we head toward the middle of next week. And then check this out. Temperatures continue to rise. We're near 80 degrees heading into next weekend, and that also unfortunately brings us an opportunity for some pop-up storms that we'll be keeping an eye on as well. That's Check Your Forecast. We've got another full hour of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Right now at 6, first responders battle a Thursday morning apartment fire in Joplin's Murfreesburg neighborhood.
Yeah, cold conditions for everybody, some cloudy skies for some of us, and we're going to take a look at that weekend forecast. We'll look at all these warmer temperatures coming up.
Arkansas gets ready to sign permitless carry into law, but the new law may come into conflict with an older version.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Tanya Buck.
I'm Chris Warner. Just after 6 a.m. on this finally Friday here in the 4 states. So Tanya mentioned it earlier, and I'm sure some of you at home may have noticed, boy, for some reason the last 2 days I have been exhausted and I have no idea why. Like, I am ready to take a nap right now, and I've had plenty of sleep. Just last couple of days for some reason been really tired.
I guess it's been a long week for you. You
had
some long weather days.
Yeah, and that started after that, so maybe that had something to do with it, and I just haven't fully recovered somehow. Well, we will recover over the weekend, and it's going to be a great weekend to recover. Taking a look at the MoDOT camera, 20th and Range line, we're looking good so far out there. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400 just south of Pittsburgh. As we take a look at our camera at 7th and Range line, we're not too shabby out there. We're at 35 right now. 31 is what it feels like, east breeze at 5, so it is cold outside, but it could be considerably worse. We've got 34 Iola, 29 Fort Scott. They dropped a bit, and Parsons said, no, we're holding on to that cold spot, so they're now down to 28. 38 Miami and 37 in Neosho. As we take a look at our morning, again, out in Kansas, not dealing with the clouds, but for everybody else, mostly cloudy skies, lower 50s by late morning, and then the skies will begin to clear for everybody as we head through the afternoon. Temperatures warming into the mid to upper 60s across the area. Clear skies continue as we head into the evening, down to 38 for our lows, so we do have another cold night for us. And as we look ahead, we're not doing too bad. 67 tomorrow, maybe a stray shower or two on Easter Sunday, so don't worry too much about it. Just be aware it could happen. Otherwise, cloudy, 69. A few more showers Monday, 70. And then we continue into the lower to mid 70s as we head through the middle of next week. That is a check of your forecast. Tanya, we're going to send it back over to you.
All right, thanks, Chris. An early Thursday morning fire burned an upstairs apartment in Joplin's Murfreesburg neighborhood. The fire was at 114 South Pearl. Authorities say the resident of the apartment was transported to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. There's no word yet on the cause of the fire. An NEO student from southeast Kansas died on Thursday, 3 days after a truck pedestrian crash. The crash happened Monday night on the 900 block of B Street Northeast in Miami. Authorities say the truck drove south with 19-year-old Chase Langston of rural Parsons, Kansas, on the hood of the truck. They say the driver then accelerated and slammed on his brakes, throwing Langston from the hood. Langston was taken to a Joplin hospital in critical condition and died from his injuries yesterday. Authorities say the driver of the truck, Clay McCormick, left the scene. Authorities found the truck about a half block north of the accident, parked at the truck owner's home. McCormick was arrested for DUI. Authorities say more charges are expected in the case. Arkansas's Republican-led House rejects and effectively kills legislation aimed at banning affirmative action by state and local governments. Comes after critics said it would have gone much further than its architects said it would and threatened a host of programs around the state. The bill, rejected on Wednesday on a bipartisan 51-27 vote, would have prohibited state and local governments from granting preferential treatment on the basis of race, sex, color, ethnicity, and national origin. It also would have applied to public schools and institutions of higher education. Immediately after the vote, the House approved a procedural move that prevents the measure from being reconsidered. A permit would not be required to carry a concealed handgun in Arkansas under a bill lawmakers sent to Republican Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders on Wednesday. Governor Sanders' office says she plans to sign the measure approved by the majority Republican House on an 81-11 vote. The bill was approved without debate, but opponents have questioned the impact the legislation would have on a 2017 law that allows concealed carry handguns in certain locations, including the state capitol. In an extraordinary move that is drawing some accusations of racism, the Tennessee House votes to expel 2 black Democratic lawmakers over their role in gun reform protests that interrupted proceedings last week. Now, vote to expel a 3rd white representative who took part in the same protest narrowly failed. Jared Hill reports.
It was an unprecedented day in Tennessee politics.
Representative Justin Jones of the 57 Representative District expelled.
As the Republican supermajority in the State House voted Thursday to expel Democratic Representatives Justin Jones and Justin Pearson.
It wasn't about us individually. That's right. It was an attempt to expel and silence a movement. Yeah. But they've done the opposite. No action!
It's a reaction to Jones, Pearson, and Democratic Representative Gloria Johnson leading a gun reform protest on the House floor just days after the deadly Nashville school shooting.
Schools need to be safer. Yeah. Our communities need to be safer.
Republicans insist the 3 brought, quote, disorder and dishonor.
Mutiny on the House floor. A mutiny which to this body and to this state has been unknown in its 227-year history.
Supporters inside the chamber cheered as Johnson survived a vote to expel her. All 3 of the Democrats insist the final outcome was racially motivated.
We are marching into fascism with a supermajority that has proven that absolute power corrupts absolutely.
The lawmakers, known as the Tennessee Three, are vowing to continue to fight for gun control.
Every week until this session adjourns, we will return whether we're inside the chamber or outside the chamber.
The ousted representatives will still be able to run for their seats when a special election is held. Jared Hill, CBS News.
The expulsion of Jones and Justin Pearson was a move the chamber has used only a handful of times since the Civil War. House Speaker Cameron Sexton, a Republican who voted to expel all 3, denied that race was a factor. President Biden took to Twitter late Thursday, calling the decision shocking, undemocratic, and without precedent. Well, don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. You can get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone, free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. That's the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Well, the Ooh La Lafayette event has been a community staple for 14 years. From silent auctions to virtual golf, the community shows up and out for the Lafayette House. This year, they introduced the alcove, which has more masculine interests because they wanted to emphasize that they help everyone in the community.
Lafayette House is so important to our community for men and women. They treat both, and a lot of people don't realize that. So I just hope that this gets the word out to more people.
All proceeds and donations from the gala support the Lafayette House, making sure to keep a safe sanctuary for those in need. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, lawmakers and transgender rights.
Sports. I'm Jared Hill with the new proposal from the White House to protect the rights of trans athletes in certain situations.
Plus, a simple blood test could one day be used to predict the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. And Chris has another look at your Friday forecast and, more importantly, what you can expect from the weather this weekend. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning, and we'll be right back. But first, here's a live look from Pittsburgh, Kansas. Topping Nation Watch this morning, the Pacific wild salmon population is in trouble. Fishermen say even with recent heavy rain and snow, the salmon have not come back since last year's blistering drought. For the first time in 14 years, fishery managers are canceling next year's fishing season off the California coast to help the population recover. It's a devastating blow for tens of thousands of people who depend on the salmon industry for their livelihood. The Chinook salmon population was already in decline because of dam construction and extended droughts from climate change. Oklahoma's Attorney General is asking for a new trial in the case of a death row inmate who has spent a quarter of a century in prison for the death of his boss. In a motion filed Thursday, Attorney General Genter Drummond wrote that while the state previously opposed relief for Richard Glossop, it has now changed its position based on a careful review of new information. Comes after a special counsel report released Thursday recommended Glossop's capital murder conviction be vacated and that he be granted a new trial. The 60-year-old has insisted he was not involved in the killing of his boss and has narrowly avoided death 3 times via reprieves or stays of execution. Glossop, a former motel manager, has been behind bars for 26 years. Up, and away. NASA and SpaceX launch a rocket early Friday morning from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. And this one's equipped with a NASA instrument called TEMPO, which stands for Tropospheric Emissions Monitoring of Pollution. The device is the first space-based device to monitor major air pollutants from above. It can monitor conditions from the Atlantic to the Pacific Oceans, as far north as the Canadian oil sands and as far south as Mexico City. This is SpaceX's 23rd launch this year. Well, the Biden administration is proposing new rules stopping schools and colleges across the country from enacting outright bans on transgender athletes. The potential rule released Thursday comes as the Supreme Court said a trans middle schooler could run on her track team in West Virginia while legal battles play out. Jared Hill has more.
A proposed rule from the Biden administration would prevent schools and colleges from putting a blanket ban on transgender athletes. Specifically, it updates federal law known as Title IX, which ensures students aren't discriminated against based on sex. The proposal does, though, give some wiggle room for exceptions, allowing K-12 schools and colleges to restrict in some cases where the participation of a trans student undermines fairness on the field or could lead to injuries.
In a sense, I think what the Biden administration is doing is telling states, go back and do something narrower.
The announcement comes the same day the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that a 12-year-old trans girl in West Virginia can keep competing on her middle school track and cross-country teams while legal challenges continue in the state. Earlier in the week, Kansas became the 20th state to ban trans athletes from women's and girls' sports after lawmakers overturned the Democratic governor's veto. Governors in Indiana and Idaho signed laws restricting gender-affirming care for trans minors. The White House reacting.
So I want to say directly to LGBTQI plus kids, you are loved just as you are.
The federal proposal still has to go through a public comment period before it takes effect. Jared Hill, CBS News.
The American Civil Liberties Union says it's tracking more than 450 anti-LGBTQ bills across the U.S. Let's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look.
Yeah, we've got ourselves a cold start out there across the area and clouds for some of us, but warmer weather is on the way. We'll take another full look at that forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. We've got a cold start out there and some clouds for some of us, but not all of us. Before we get to that, time for a little weather trivia today. A line of intense, widespread, and fast-moving thunderstorms is known as a what? Now I'm reading this question. I'm a little more caffeinated. I feel like we may have asked it before, which should make it easier to answer. Is it a surge, a haboob, a derecho, or a squall line? Well, while we think about that, I'm going to tuck this cable back into my pocket because I just realized it was hanging out. We'll look at our cameras. 7th and range line looks good so far. Let's take a look at 20th and range line from the MoDOT camera there. A few more cars on the road, and of course later today that road will be packed. Same with 69 right there, 400 from the KDOT camera there. We are looking all right, and we are a bit on the cold side across the area, though. Take a look, 35 in Joplin right now, feeling like 31 with an east breeze at about 5 miles an hour. And as we take a look at temperatures across the area, well, they look cold, and they look like this. We've got 34 Iola, 29 Fort Scott, Neodesha. Parsons still wanting to be the cooler spot, sitting at 28. 35 Chetopa, 38 Miami, 37 Neosho, and we're sitting at 35 in Carthage. As we get our day started, so what I mentioned is southeast Kansas, not very many clouds out there. Southwest Missouri and the northeast Oklahoma, it's cloudy. And for those folks, it's going to stay cloudy through the morning. We get into the lower 50s. And as we head into the afternoon, the remaining clouds in the area will start to clear out. And we'll look at highs pushing the mid to upper 60s. Now, for those in southeast Kansas, you're going to see a little more sunshine than the rest of us have seen. And therefore, you may even push close to 70 degrees today. All right, 62 by 6, 54 at 8, 46 by 10, because again, once the sun goes down, temperatures will fall. And without that thermal blanket of cloud cover, it's going to be another cold one. Pinch warmer than last night, though, 38 degrees for our overnight low. So here's those clouds on the future track, and they eventually exit on out of here. And once they do, like I said, clear skies. We head into Saturday, a few passing clouds. Otherwise, not a bad day across the 4-state area. Now, take a look at Sunday, 6 o'clock in the morning. We start out mostly clear, but off to our west, we can see some showers out there. There might even be a rumble of thunder or two in parts of Kansas. And then we head to about 2 o'clock. And between about 2 and 7 tomorrow, we're looking at the possibility of a couple of stray showers. So I've talked about this is not just blanket rainfall in our area. This is the computer's interpretation of where we could see a shower or two across the area. These are going to be extremely isolated to widely scattered, so you don't need to cancel your Easter plans. Just be prepared in case you happen to get underneath one of those stray showers. Then we head into Monday, 10 o'clock in the morning. We got a few more showers. Again, not widespread rainfall, but a few more showers out there. And between roughly 10 a.m. and midnight, well, you have an opportunity for a few more showers on Monday than what we saw on Sunday. Now, again, these won't be everywhere, but we could see some, and we could even have a rumble of thunder or two as we head into our Monday. We go into Tuesday morning, those are out of here, and we go back to some passing clouds, and as we head into the middle of the week, we're looking pretty good so far, and temperatures continue to warm. For your Easter forecast, we're starting at 44 in the morning, 69 for the high by midday, and in the evening, again, a few more stray showers out there, nothing too crazy, down to 55. All right, back to our question. A line of intense, widespread, and fast-moving thunderstorms is known as a what? Well, if you happen to pick derecho, you would be correct. In fact, derechos also bring extremely strong, damaging, potentially destructive straight-line winds. That's what separates them from a squall line. A haboob is a sandstorm or a dust storm. A squall line is a smaller line of thunderstorms. And a surge is an increase in seawater height due to storms. All right, up to 67 tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, mostly cloudy otherwise on Sunday, 69, 70 on Monday with those shower chances. We go to the lower 70s through Wednesday, maybe a breezy day for us, mid 70s by Thursday. Then we head toward 80 toward the end of next week and into next weekend, but it's still springtime, so we are keeping an eye on some pop-up thunderstorms as we head into next weekend. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, a new UK study confirms that many people are getting COVID-19 by touching infected household surfaces. Researchers say the virus spreads from microaerosols and large droplets that land on the hands and surfaces around you. They advise frequent hand washing and cleaning surfaces, especially if someone in the household is infected. A routine ultrasound for pregnant women in the third trimester could significantly lower breech births, and that's according to researchers in London who found scans close to birth can lead to better care before and after labor, which would also improve outcomes for newborns. And a simple blood test that analyzes DNA may one day be used to predict the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Doctors say the findings could lead to preventative measures before symptoms develop that would lessen diabetes burdens both physically and economically. Well, Pennsylvania woman is grateful after doctors solve her medical mystery. Doctors had to devise a new treatment for a potentially life-threatening condition. Stephanie Stahl has more.
Thank you so much for everything, Dr. Aiken. You saved my life.
Ronnie Elena gets emotional, thanking the team at Penn Medicine who figured out her medical mystery.
They refused to give up, and they told me I was going to be okay.
The doctors are also her friends. Ronnie works at Penn, a secretary in cardiac intensive care. 7 months ago, she started having intense gastrointestinal issues and lost 80 pounds while her belly filled with fluid.
I started passing out for no reason. Nobody could figure it out.
She managed to work as much as she could, and finally, after months of testing, there was a diagnosis.
She had this condition called protein-losing enteropathy, where you lose protein in your bowels and you're not able to absorb nutrition.
Dr. Todd Hecht, a hospitalist at Penn, says it's a rare and potentially life-threatening condition. Traditional treatments didn't work, so the team at Penn tried something new.
I personally have never seen this before.
Ronnie had an obstruction in her thoracic duct, causing the backup of fluid into her stomach. To clear that, she had thoracic duct bypass surgery. It's the first time it was used to treat her condition.
It's a new technique, new approach, new disease, new imaging that we figure out for you, but we will figure out for other people. And it was amazing that it actually worked.
I have my life back.
Ronnie's symptoms are gone now. She's gained the weight back and is beginning to feel like herself again. Stephanie Stahl, CBS News, Philadelphia.
The Penn team recently presented Elena's case at a medical conference, and they hope the surgery used to treat Elena will be used by other patients with her condition. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Yeah, we've got cold for all, clouds for some, and warmer weather on the way. We'll take a look at all that when we come back.
Right now at 6:30, residents in Newton and McDonald counties give voice to concerns over the use of a particular fertilizer.
And we've got a cold start out there for all of us and a few clouds in the sky as well. We'll take a look at the forecast and tell you whether or not it's going to warm up coming up.
Joplin and Webb City team up to present a grant to the Children's Haven of Southwest Missouri.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 6:30 on the dot. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So another cold morning out there for some of us across the area, but it is going to warm up. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line. It's actually looking somewhat clear. So despite what the satellite image has been telling us, I can see some daylight out there and I'm not seeing any clouds. KDOT camera at 69 and 400 just south of Pittsburgh. Now, unfortunately, it looks a little bit lower, but I can see some of the sky up there, and I'm still not seeing that many clouds. 7th and Range Line, I don't see any clouds, so the satellite is picking up on something, and I'm not sure what it is. 35 in Joplin, 31 is what it feels like with an east breeze at 5 miles an hour. And again, it's a cold start across the area. 28, Parsons. Neodache trying to sneak in on your cold temperature action. Both of them at 28, 32 in Pittsburgh, 28 also in Fort Scott. Now we got a triple threat out there. 33 Lamar, 35 Carthage, Monette, and 37 in Miami. All right, we get our day started. Despite what the satellite shows, this may actually change to partly cloudy to mostly clear skies into the lower 50s by late morning. Any clouds we do have are all gone by this afternoon. We've got highs pushing the mid to upper 60s across the area. And as we head into this evening, it's another cold one under clear skies at least, back down to a low of 38 degrees. As we look ahead, we're going to continue the warming trend. 67 tomorrow, 69 Eastern, mostly cloudy, maybe a stray shower or two. Nothing to really worry about out there. Just be prepared in case you get caught under one of them. More showers, maybe a rumble of thunder on Monday and 70. We go lower 70s Tuesday and Wednesday, a little breezy, mid 70s by Thursday. And as we head toward the end of the week and into next weekend, temperatures start pushing near 80 degrees, but we're also watching the chance of a few pop-up thunderstorms across the area. So we will warm up. We just have, maybe one more cool night ahead of us before it starts to really get nice. Tanya?
Thanks, Chris. Residents in Newton and McDonald counties are getting ready to talk to state representatives about an issue they face with a fertilizer. KOAM's Yana Dula met with residents to hear their concerns and has more.
About 10 miles, and then it goes down to Elk River. About 3.
Residents in southwest Missouri say a natural fertilizer with a strong odor is overly applied on fields, which can cause issues to natural resources, and later on to the residents when consuming meat or fish.
The chemicals that may possibly be in this product, we don't know. Some of them maybe are forever chemicals that in other areas, other parts of the country, farms have been condemned and food supply has been affected by these forever chemicals that are being applied.
The fertilizer is distributed to a couple of properties by Arkansas-based company Denali Water Solutions, who describes the fertilizer as food processing residuals. On top of over-applying, the residents are concerned about runoffs from the lagoons. One happened in March, and Denali provided a statement about it. And part quote, Denali employees worked to clean up the runoff as soon as they became aware of the incident. Denali is working transparently with the Missouri Department of Natural Resources as it conducts an investigation. Resident Bradley Fields is concerned about several fertilizer-bringing trucks damaging roads. He is asking to regulate applying and add more testing.
Like a true test on the stuff they're actually spreading, like stop some of these trucks that are going out to fields to spread and pull samples directly out of those and see what's in them.
Brian Hall says he's had open communication with some lagoon owners who look at it as a low-cost fertilizer.
Our main objective right now is to get the word out to all of the landowners that they might be getting a lot more for free and no nitrogen or no fertilizer, but lots of other components.
In southwest Missouri, Janna Hautala, KOAM News.
Well, some community members plan to meet with lawmakers in Jefferson City at the end of this month and also have more town hall meetings. Some Webb City High School Launch students partnered with Joplin Community Regional Foundation Philanthropic Society to present a grant. The more than $6,700 grant went towards the Children's Haven of Southwest Missouri. And the high school's launch is a grassroots effort started by the JRCF Philanthropic Society. Its mission is to launch students into a lifetime of philanthropy.
We are in the Philanthropic Society that was started at Webb City High School last year. Basically the goal of it is to just be able to provide, we called it a grant, to be able to provide a grant.
Participated turned in 149 volunteer hours to earn more than $2,200. The funds were matched 2-to-1 for more than $4,400, reaching the total of more than $6,700. Now, the grant money hopes to move the needle for children and families in crisis situations. Well, green can be a color for happiness, money, and special effects. KGCS-TV at Missouri Southern began remodeling its TV studio on Thursday. The green screen will be in Studio B and will be used in productions for the university's Newsmakers show along with student-created productions. Studio A will become home to a brand new LED production wall. The new features come after Missouri Southern received a $1.5 million Mo Excels grant. Master instructor Brian Mirren says the green screen will be very versatile.
The advantage of virtual backgrounds such as green screens allow studios to have many different productions happen in a short amount of time and to change out their sets quickly instead of having larger sets and needing a larger amount of space. So this allows students to create their own shows with a lower cost of entry because they don't have to create all these like large sets. Everything is generally mostly computer generated.
KGCS-TV is a nonprofit TV station and broadcasts throughout the Joplin region on Channel 21. This morning, we're discussing reading a book.
The literacy rates for the 4 states range from Kansas at 19th, Missouri at 27th, Oklahoma at 29th, and Arkansas down on the list at 40th in the nation. Literacy rate, though, in Texas, nearly the worst in the nation at 49th.
Well, those numbers prompted some Texas neighborhoods to team up with their school districts to improve reading skills. Little boxes began to pop up here and there. Only they were not birdhouses. They were little lending libraries.
And if you take a look around the 4 states, sometime you might actually be surprised to see how many of these little boxes with big learning are right in your own neighborhood. And that brings us to our question for you this morning. When is the last time? I think the poll is broken.
I think it is.
I think it is because at least 3 or 4 people have voted by now. So it's all at 0%, but we still want to know, when is the last time you read a book? You can still take the opportunity to vote through our website and the app. I think at this point, since this thing's not working quite right, most importantly, take time to participate in discussion on our Facebook page and maybe share what the last book you read was. Maybe spark somebody else's interest.
I think the last book I read was a children's book to my son.
Yeah, same here. Same here. I think that's the kind of the last book I've read was a children's book. So,
all right.
All right, and Ron, our producer, has confirmed that the poll results thing there that we have is broken. So we know you're voting, and we appreciate you voting. Just every so often, technology says, forget you. And we're like, fine, whatever. Okay, cool.
Maybe we'll get it later. We'll see.
Perhaps.
All right, that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, the only thing better than the weekend is kicking it off with KOAM's Shannon Becker and his big 3 stories of the week.
Plus, as mentioned, it's been a cold start across the area for us, but there's some good news. The temperatures are going to warm up, and they're going to warm up quite a bit. There's those clouds. I knew the satellite wasn't lying. There's some clouds out there. We'll talk all about that forecast a little later. But first, here's a live look from Pittsburgh, Kansas. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome back. It's time to close out the week with our own Shannon Becker.
Hello.
And his big 3 stories.
Yep, what's live and local and what we've been at, of course. Our number 3 story this week, a motorcyclist was rushed trauma to a Joplin hospital after a crash right in front of Food for Less. A vehicle going through the intersection was struck by a motorcycle. The man was transported trauma to an area hospital, a story we're still following up on KOAM News Now. Our number 2 story, live and local, and it was last Saturday, the 10th annual, I don't know if you ever heard of this, the Cole Darby Cruisin' to Prom. It's a group of about 30 people get together every year, and they give rides to the special education kids who can't get a license to prom. It started 10 years ago. Cole Darby was in the special education program at Joplin High School, and he told his mom and dad, just informed him he was driving their classic truck to the prom. Well, you know, of course he couldn't do that, but Cole still helps out with the event. I talked to him the other day, and it's really, really cool thing. They have a dinner beforehand, they cruise around town and off to the prom.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. And then our number 1 story. It happened last Friday with all of the winds.
Oh, that wind.
Wasn't it insane? This is Garrison Avenue, the main north and south route in Carthage. A tree completely blocked the roadway. That car there had a mom and a young son in it. Her young son, tree came crashing down on them.
Wow.
She said she pulled over to help him with his sippy cup. He was pretty upset that he dropped his sippy cup, and then she turned around in the car seat and boom, the tree fell, broke all the windows out of it. They were not injured, but it was quite scary. And about 7,000 people lost power through all that too. And then our bonus story of the week. Last Saturday, 2 trailers burn in South Joplin on 34th Street. One neighbor was burning leaves. Now you can't burn leaves in the city of Joplin without a permit, number 1, but number 2, it was too windy. You would not have been able to get a permit to burn leaves.
What day was this?
This was on Saturday.
It was very windy
Saturday. Yeah, it was
Saturday.
still windy Saturday. So it burned completely that person's trailer, totally destroyed. And then the neighbor's trailer had what they call exposure. So the fire had spread across the grass there and then burned the side of their house, which made that unlivable also. It's very, very dangerous, not only for the residents, but also for the firefighters. The black smoke was seen all across the area. If you can see that, what they call heavy fire load. There's a lot of various items in the house there. It was really, really deep and dangerous also for the firefighters. That's our bonus story of the week. KOAM News Now and our Big 3 live and local stories.
How hard is it to get a burn ban in the city of Joplin?
A burn ban, or you mean a burn permit?
Yeah. Not a burn ban.
Burn permit. When it's a day when you can burn, you just go to the main fire station and it's $10 just to burn.
So it's easy.
Yep,
Just go to the fire.
And if it's not a day to burn, then they'll tell you can't burn today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
be safe.
Yeah.
Be smart.
And make your neighbors safe too, right?
Yeah. Think of other people too.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times there's a place where you can take those tree limbs and
larger
branches
items,
and stuff for drop off instead.
We have a great trash service in Joplin Republic. You can put stuff out and they'll pick up those extra items also. Not always limbs, but things.
All right. Well, thank you so much. If you'll stick around, we'll have you again in the Fox Hour.
All right.
We'll be right back.
All right, time for some Finally Friday birthdays here in the 4 states. And we begin in Fort Scott with Natalie Murphy celebrating the big number 2. Happy birthday, Natalie.
And up next, we have Marjorie Falk turning 4 years old. Look at that cutie there in Pittsburgh.
And we've got Joella Olivis celebrating birthday number 7 in Fort Scott. Very happy birthday to you.
All right, Jackson Maddox celebrating birthday number 8 in Joplin. Love Papa and Momo.
And we've got Adeline Midget celebrating birthday number 8 as well over in Chautauqua. Happy birthday, Adeline.
In Pittsburgh, turning 14. Time to celebrate for Zane Aiken.
And we've got Bella Ascanio celebrating birthday number 14 in Pittsburgh with love from your family. Happy birthday, Bella.
Fredonia, Kansas is celebrating along with Emma Barton, who's now 17 years old.
And we've got Lindsay Lee Tubaugh celebrating birthday number 32. Very happy birthday to you.
And Lindsay Joe McDonald down in Quapaw, Oklahoma. Look at who she's pictured there with. Chris, you see that?
I do. Everybody's favorite weatherman. We've also got Nicole Massey celebrating birthday number 34. Happy birthday, Nicole.
And Josh Smith celebrating birthday number 42 this year in Girard. And there's a note here that said, happy birthday from I'm guessing your friends at Girard Farmers Bank?
Perhaps. Yeah, some of our notes got cut off. So if you don't hear us reading them, it's just because the way this thing printed, it was a little strange. Well, we've also got Juliet Dooley celebrating a birthday in Webb City with love from your sunshine sister.
All right, and Verna Cosart celebrating in Columbus. Another year wiser, another year more beautiful. Happy birthday, Verna.
And Patty Gaithier celebrating in Fort Scott with love from all of your family. And a great throwback picture there, Patty. Happy birthday.
Love that. Susan Buchanan celebrating number 73 this year. Susan is in Jasper, Missouri.
And Susie Jackman celebrating birthday number 76 in Moran. A very happy birthday to you, Susie.
All right, turning 77 this year. It's time to celebrate for Doris Dake down in Fairland, Oklahoma, with love from your daughter, Crystal, and the entire family.
And we've also got Cleo Natalini celebrating birthday number 95 in Frontenac. Says, happy birthday, beautiful Cleo. We love you.
All right. And our list goes on. Jennifer Eckhart celebrating another birthday. Hope it's a great one.
Along with Mildred Beecham celebrating a birthday as well. Happy birthday to you, Mildred. This is what happens when I say, please send us your birthdays, because our lists were so short the last couple of days. Tanya, you called it. This was, page and a half long? We love that. We want more birthdays and anniversaries. Where do they need to get them to?
All they have to do is send them to this email, birthdays with an S at KOAMnewsnow.com.
And of course, you know what else you should be doing is you should be going to our website and checking out the KOAM Birthday Club. You get great deals from local businesses. Additionally, you get a special note from your friends here at KOAM on your birthday. Head over to KOAMnewsnow.com and sign up for that birthday club today. All right, so I figured out what's going on with the clouds. The satellite, that it's picking up on them. Turns out they're actually a little further to the east than what the satellite image right now is displaying. So we turned our camera to the east, and you got the sunrise kind of hiding back there. And if we go a little further to the east, you'll see there's more clouds out there. So the good news with that is that may mean that our clouds will clear a little faster today than what we were thinking. And that means we will have a beautiful day all day. 35 in Joplin, 31 is what it feels like with an east breeze at 5 miles an hour. We got some competition for the cold spot going on. Parsons, though, reigning champ as they are staying at 28, but Neodesha and Fort Scott have gone back up to 29, 37 Miami and Neosho, and 35 in Carthage. All right. Maybe not mostly cloudy skies for some of us this morning. Otherwise, pushing into the lower 50s by late morning. Any clouds we do have should be gone by this afternoon. Temperatures pushing the mid to upper 60s. As we head into the evening, we're clear and we are again cold, back down to 38 for our low. And a quick look at that Easter forecast. We're going to start the day at about 44, 69 for the high, 55 by the evening. And again, maybe an isolated shower or two, but nothing to really panic about. So that's some good news there. Well, it's Friday. We've got this gorgeous weather that's on the way. And the only thing I can think of to make the ending the week even better, well, we've celebrated the birthdays and anniversaries. We're going to check out what's happening now on CBS Mornings.
I'm Natalie Morales. Coming up on CBS Mornings, David Begnaud introduces us to a man who says working with dogs helped give him back his humanity. That is coming up on CBS Mornings.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A permit would not be required to carry a concealed handgun. Bill, lawmakers sent to Republican Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders on Wednesday. Governor Sanders' office says she plans to sign the measure approved by the majority Republican House on an 81-11 vote. The bill was approved without debate, but opponents have questioned the impact of legislation that it would have on a 2017 law that allows concealed carry handguns in certain locations, including the state capitol. An early Thursday morning fire burned at an upstairs apartment in Joplin's Murphysburg neighborhood. The fire was at 114 South Pearl. Authorities say the resident of the apartment was transported to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. There's no word yet on the cause of the fire. Some area students threw on some gloves and got to work on Thursday. Neosho County Community College hosted its 13th annual SMAW Invitational Welding Competition. The focus of the competition was the stick welding process. An official says the competition serves to motivate and prepare its students to join the workforce. And some students have been doing this from a young age. And the ULA Lafayette event has been a community staple for 14 years. From silent auctions to virtual golf, community shows up and out for the Lafayette House. And this year, they introduced the Alcove, which has more masculine interests because they want to emphasize they help everyone in the community. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
You head out the door, it's a little bit on the cold side, but we will warm up. The clouds that we have will clear, highs mid to upper 60s. As we head into this evening, we'll stay clear, but it's going to be cold again as we drop back down to 38. We're going to be good tomorrow, pushing about 67, 69 on Easter, mostly cloudy, maybe an isolated shower or two, so nothing to worry about. A few more showers Monday, 70, lower 70s through Wednesday, and mid to upper 70s by late week.
Right, well, coming up today at noon, we are making Italian Easter pie in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. They say dogs are man's best friend, but David Begnaud introduces us to a man who, for that saying, may be an understatement. His story is coming up on CBS Mornings.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, we've got a second chance for you to catch Shannon Becker and his big 3 stories of the week, just in case you missed him or them.
Plus, we take a trip north to find out just why so many women are taking over farm duties in Minnesota and Wisconsin. That's going to wrap it up for us for now. We'll see you back here Monday morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.